Hello, everyone. I am Bruce, and welcome to another video on Congress Weekly. Thank you for tuning in. This video will cover some updates to subjects I have previously covered, along with some new ones. If you have been following along, one topic that I covered involved a Democratic push to pay off $50,000 of student loan debt. Now that this bill is being pushed harder, there is some fallout from it. Many Americans, which include most of you, are saying, wait a minute, am I going to receive this payment even though I paid off my loan? Others are saying, what if I couldn't afford to go to school? Will I be paid as well? Well, you get the idea. Overall, this proposal about canceling $50,000 in student loans may not end up getting much support or will be watered down a lot. I reported previously about the new so called gun law. That is starting to get others in Congress to question it. They are saying what I stated. It appears to be protecting the bad guy more than the law abiding citizens. And with the database being proposed, this would tell everyone who has guns and where they are keeping them. At least there is some resistance to this bill in the early stages. Raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour is also running into obstacles. In fact, the president is finding it might be harder to get this provision into the COVID bill. Speaking of the COVID bill, it will pick up steam this coming week. There is concern that too much funding is being approved or being provided to state governments will actually destroy jobs and raise the cost of living for the working class. Also, a lot of chatter is taking place about using some of the funds to pay for an underground rail system in California. Most are scratching their heads about this. How does this program have anything to do with COVID? House Representative Jason Smith, a Republican, provided some data about the bill if it wasn't changed. The amounts I mentioned would only be spent this fiscal year. The rest would be used in the years 2022 or beyond. Of the $130 billion in the bill for K through 12 schools, only 5% of that amount would be spent. Of the $5 billion for emergency housing vouchers, only 5% would be spent. Of the $39 billion earmarked for child care, only 19% would be spent. Of the $50 billion for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA, only 23% would be spent. Of the entire Education and Labor Committee component of the package, only 12% would be spent. None of the $5 billion for homeless assistance would be spent. I'm uncertain at this point why not all the funds would be used this fiscal year. It could be to spread it out so the burden on the taxpayers, meaning us, will have to bear. So, what does all this money mean to you, the taxpayer, when you add up all the COVID relief bills and the latest one being proposed? Remember, it is you and me and our kids and our kids' kids who would be paying for it. The cost to you is currently at $17,000 per individual and $70,000 per family of four. In my opinion, for the relief checks we have and could receive, doesn't seem to be a good return on investment for us. Let's see how this all plays out this week in Congress. As for the XL pipeline, that has a lot of people upset. President Biden probably felt he needed to please his far left progressives by canceling it, but by signing the executive order to stop work on it, like he did with the southern border wall, many people are now without work. And I don't expect job replacements will come anytime soon for those out of a job. Besides possibly appeasing to the far left, I think there might be more to this, but I will wait for more details before discussing it. A topic I haven't covered very much since it had so much coverage in the media is the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. As you may know, President Biden has selected Judge Merrick Garland to be the next Attorney General if approved by the Senate. All indications are he will be. He will appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee tomorrow, February 22nd. Here are some of what he plans to tell the committee. And I quote, "If confirmed, I will supervise the prosecution of white supremacists and others who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, an attack that sought to disrupt a cornerstone of our democracy, the peaceful transfer of power to a newly elected government." End quote. As I read that, something that seems odd to me: why do we still have a barbed wire fence surrounding our Capitol with the National Guard protecting it? Is there intel out there telling Congress, get ready for another attack? That would surprise me if there was. Yet, we the taxpayers are covering the cost of the fence and having the National Guard there. And since the Speaker has initiated a commission to study what went on during the Capitol riot on January 6th, why is this a top priority of Judge Garland's? Judge Garland goes on to say his urgent mission as Attorney General is to uphold all Americans' civil rights. He states that mission remains urgent because we do not yet have equal justice. Communities of color and other minorities still face discrimination in housing, education, employment, and the criminal justice system, and bear the brunt of the harm caused by pandemic, pollution, and climate change. End quote. A couple of my opinions. First, he states all Americans' civil rights, but as I read his text, that it might not exactly be equal rights. Second, I agree minorities still face discrimination in several areas, but I also believe those who are not considered minorities and fall under low income are discriminated against as well. Third, I am a bit confused with where pollution and climate change fall directly under the Attorney General. I am sure at least the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee will question him about the active investigation into the tax affairs of Hunter Biden. And since the iron is hot, they will also ask him about New York Governor Cuomo and whether Judge Garland will investigate the governor's alleged cover-up of nursing home coronavirus deaths. Will he answer directly to both ongoing investigations or half-step? I say he will half-step by saying he can't comment on ongoing investigations. Finally, President Biden signed an executive order to revive the so-called catch and release approach to facilitate illegal immigration. Because of this executive order, not only are illegal immigrants being allowed to come into our country, but the Biden administration removed the authority of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, to lawfully arrest them when they cross the border illegally. I would think the immigrants who came here legally would be upset about this. And I thought we had a COVID crisis going on. Well, thanks for watching. If you like my videos under Congress Weekly, please click the thumbs up and subscribe. You can also leave your thoughts by using the email address shown below at the bottom of the screen. Until my next video, please be safe.